buy this DLC if you like Final Fantasy VII Remake. But if you didn't like it because it was more anime and less serious than Final Fantasy 15, this will not change your mind at all. I personally thought Final Fantasy VII Remake was good, but a little bit too anime, and the DLC is still pretty anime, but not as much anime as Final Fantasy VII Remake, if that makes sense. By the way, I do not like anime, but these games slash DLC actually appeal to me. If you don't like FF7 Remake, you will not like this DLC. If you enjoyed the game, you'll love this DLC. For me personally, who isn't a big fan of anime, but I like Persona 5, some anime shows like Castlevania, Dota, and I like this DLC. So that is saying something about the quality of the DLC itself. I'm not going to talk about the story because the main story is about 4 or 5 hours ish, mainly like 4.5 for most people, but it took me like 4 hours. And the side content will add to the story about 5 to 6 hours total. Right, in total 5 to 6 hours of content. The story is very self-contained, but it has some characters from the base game that actually show up, but you never actually interact with them besides one. The story kept my interest, and the characters were okay. Yuffie was great, and a couple of side characters were great, but some felt lame and had no personality at all. Also, the side quests are not great at all. The side quests are like the base game. They are basic and just mediocre. There is a VR fighting mode, which is a lot of fun and challenging, and there also is a new mini game called Fort Condor. It's like Clash Royale, but there are 3 types of minions you can place down. Like, you have a whole deck basically that you customize, but each minion is their own different class, like range, melee, and stuff like that. You place them down, and each of them have their own counters and benefits to each other, and blah blah blah. There's also more freedom in where you can place them down than in Clash Royale. Also, when your character is further on the board than the enemy team character, you can place your characters down further on the board than the enemy team. This game mode is a bit easy, but gets more tough the more the game goes on, because you battle better players till you reach the boss at you reach the boss who is like the champion at Fort Condor. The gameplay of Intermission is you play as Yuffie, who has a shuriken. It's a lot of fun playing as her. Her combos and abilities are fun. You get new material and weapons like in the base game. You can't play as her sidekick, but you can control his abilities and synchronize with him to do really fun combos. The bosses are amazing. The bosses are very varied, and there's a good amount of bosses. All feel different and feel great and not tedious at all. Also, the soundtrack is amazing and matches really well to the DLC as a whole. This game also runs well in performance mode and graphics mode. The Yuffie DLC was a pleasant surprise, and I really enjoyed it. I can say it's worth your $20 US or whatever it is in your respective country.